The Israel-Hamas war is shedding light on the use of laser weapons, putting various military services on alert how they can bolster their own systems. Israel has invested in its Iron Beam system, which produces high-energy lasers and stops rockets, artillery, mortar rounds, and even drones. Here in the U.S., the Pentagon is spending billions of dollars every year to develop directed energy weapons, which includes high-energy lasers that can be used to blast drones out of the sky. The U.S. military prototyping these kinds of systems, experimenting to see what works out in the actual battlefield. So here with us now to explain, let's bring in retired Air Force Brigadier General John Teichert. General, thank you so much for your time here. We know lasers have been used since the Cold War, so it's not like this is necessarily new, but talk about how the technology itself is changing and why the Pentagon, more importantly, is willing to spend billions of dollars investing in this type of technology and equipment.
Nichole, we have used lasers primarily to guide bombs, but now lasers and other types of directed energy like microwaves are being used based on the new technology to engage targets. And you described potentially targets that are inbound rockets or mortars or missiles, but directed energy can either blind or ultimately destroy, with the right technology, a variety of targets, and it can do so at range, and it can do so in a way that is cost permissive. And that is why it is so attractive for the Pentagon to be investing in this technology.
All right, so General, is there a world maybe where the majority of our weapons supply could consist of these types of weapons, of weaponry?
Nichole, absolutely. You think about all of the talk in the last 20 months about supply chain and industrial production. If you don't have to worry about producing the projectiles that engage in targets, and instead you just have to provide energy or power to a laser or microwave system, then ultimately now it frees up in a variety of ways your resources, and they can be extremely effective at light speed in engaging targets instead of the ways traditionally that we've done so throughout human history.
You know, and not to minimize this, but when I was looking at the videos as I was doing research on this, it almost honestly looks like, you know, a video game and controller, you know, how these things are operated. How does the training differ? And does this ultimately keep our troops safer?
Nichole, there is an arms race to find the right way to operationalize these types of directed energy weapons. I commanded Edwards Air Force Base, the test base in the Air Force recently, but back when I was there at a previous time in 2010, there was a program that was a demonstrator known as the airborne laser that actually in test shot down dozens of miles away from the nose of a 747 with a laser, a couple of ballistic missiles. That is a great example of how you can utilize this type of technology, and you can do so for defensive purposes, and you can also do so for offensive purposes. And the country that finds the way to operationalize this capability soonest will have a huge operational and strategic advantage.
In general, it's called directed energy, and I think, you know, the sound of those two words together, I feel like could potentially, you know, be dangerous. We know that these are expensive. Is that the only potential downside, or are there others?
There are a variety of downsides as you consider how do you operationalize these types of capabilities. Right now, laws of rule prohibit you from using directed energy against human beings, but against inbound rockets or missiles or aircraft or other types of targets, they are allowed. But just like any other forms of weaponry throughout human history, often you find out about the upsides and the downsides once you operationalize or put them into practice. And that's just what we're starting to do now.
All right, and you know, we need to look, I want to zoom out and look at this, the bigger picture. We, of course, are not the only country investing in this type of weaponry. We know Russia, we know China also making advances. How concerned are U.S. military officials?
This is one of those revolutionary kinds of capabilities, Nichole. And whichever one of those countries finds the way to implement it soonest will have at least a temporary advantage in being able, at cost, or within a cost curve, instantaneously to destroy without industrial production a variety of targets. And so we should be concerned, but we should also be extremely interested in finding the way to make sure that we are the first ones that operationalize this type of capability.
Absolutely. All right, Brigadier General John Teichert, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Nichole.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.